$100 MBA Show, the business podcast that gives you the business lessons you want every single day with our daily 10-minute business lessons for the real world. I'm your host, your coach, your teacher, Omar Zenhom. I'm also the co-founder of the $100 MBA, a complete business training and community online over at 100mba.net. Make sure you check out our free goodies over there, our free guides, our free course, our blog. We got lots there for you to get started for free. Today's episode is a must-read episode. In our must-read episodes, I share with you a book that I've read that has greatly impacted me as an entrepreneur. I share with you some of its takeaways, its insights, and why you should read it too. Today's must-read is Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk. Crush It is Gary's first book. Now, I know Gary Vaynerchuk is a big deal online, but if you've never heard of Gary Vaynerchuk, this is actually a good book to start with to get to know who he is. Crush It mainly focuses on social media marketing, but it also focuses on how to grow your audience and how to connect with your audience and build trust and credibility. There's plenty to learn from this book. It was the first book I read of Gary Vaynerchuk's, and I can't wait to share with you some of its insights. All right, guys, let's get into it. Let's get down to business. Today's episode of the $100 MBA Show is sponsored by SumoMe, the best tool for growing your email list and growing your website traffic. We've been using SumoMe for over 2 years and absolutely love it. Best of all, you can get started and install it on your website for free. And that's free forever. Just go to 100mba.net/SumoMe and get started today. Again, that special link is 100mba.net/SumoMe. Gary Vaynerchuk, as many of us know, is the embodiment of pure passion and hustle. The guy seems like he has endless energy and is so hungry to do well in his business. Gary started out in his father's wine store, his liquor store, and he worked there and was an apprentice to his father. As he got older, he took over more aspects of the business, and then early on, when YouTube came out back in 2006, he started a daily wine show called Wine Library TV, where he sampled different wines and gave his critique. But the thing about Gary is that he's very down-to-earth, and he was able to build rapport with his audience with his YouTube show, which was a massive success. And the reason being is because he really described things in funny ways. He made wine and wine tasting approachable to the common person. He added his personality, his flair, and he even had a lot of celebrities come on the show. Now, through the show, and through what he built through Wine Library TV, he was able to amass a huge social media following. And that's because he's an open book, he's very helpful, and he really interacts with his audience. And this is really what the book explains. Just to give you an idea, Gary has 1.25 million followers on Twitter. And he's probably the most active person that I've ever seen on social media. He's constantly answering people's questions, interacting with people, giving people shout-outs. He's big on Snapchat these days. He's really, really all over the social media world. And recently he released a daily show called Ask Gary V. I say recently, it's been a year or so. And has published 3 best-selling books and just released his 4th one, Ask Gary V. So let's get into Crush It. Crush It is a book about the internet, about social media. It's about the incredible opportunity that these tools provide to those of us who don't have the privilege of running a Fortune 500 company. As Gary puts it, the internet has leveled the playing field. Money is no longer a key factor in building awareness or brand equity. And as he proved with Wine Library TV, with a $150 video camera and a little creativity, anyone can have a hit internet show. This book explores the idea, if you have a passion, if you have something that you're absolutely in love with, can you create a presence around it, become an authority in that area, build an audience, give to your audience, and then build a business around it. He gives countless examples in the book. And one of the reoccurring messages he puts out there in the book is something called You Inc., or the business of you. And this is where he implores the reader, everyone needs to start thinking about themselves as a brand. It's no longer an option. It's a necessity. You got to have your own website. Even if you're working for a company and you're a professional, people will Google you, and you need to be on the top of Google with your content, not somebody else talking about you or less than flattering images of you late on a Saturday night. Another reoccurring theme or message he has in this book is that in the internet, in the virtual world, you have to be transparent. Everything we do, every interaction we have, every job we complete is basically documented on the internet for the rest of eternity, or for at least the foreseeable future. People can find out everything about what you represent, what you do, with a quick Google search. The concept of a physical resume is completely being dissolved, like I mentioned. Another great takeaway is the concept of authenticity. He talks about authenticity is key when you're building your brand on the internet. I mean, if you watch Gary for more than 4 seconds, you'll know exactly what he stands for, and that's authenticity, speaking his mind. You can love him or hate him, but you have to say the dude is honest. And arguably, the single most beautiful element of the online world is that you're able to share your passions, your interests with literally millions of people out there. Everyone can connect with everyone. There are no more gatekeepers, and that's one of the biggest themes and one of the biggest messages he tries to drill home, is that the gatekeepers of the past, whether those are movie producers or TV producers or fulfillment companies or agents, these people no longer have a purpose online. You can directly connect with your audience, with your user, with your actual customer. Gary also talks about in this book to have a set of values and to stick to them. You need to have some criteria, something that people can cling on. Somebody that could say, hey, this is what this person stands for. I agree with them, and that's why I follow them. But if you're on the fence, if you don't stand for anything, you're not going to resonate with anybody, because we're in a information overload period of time. People are bombarded with messages all the time, with different businesses, with different offers. If you don't resonate strongly with somebody, if you don't take a stand and say, this is what we're all about very clearly, you're just going to dissolve with all the noise. So what do you stand for? What's your content? What do you want people to know you for? These are things you need to consider as you're building your business and your brand. But ultimately, what Gary conveys in this book is the concept of hard work. He really believes the reason why he's where he is today is because of his tremendous work ethic. And I'm a believer of this. I believe that you have to really want it bad. You have to really put in the blood, sweat, and tears to make it happen. You gotta work your guts out, as he says in the book. He says, Crush It is not just a book, it's an attitude. It's a try and stop me if you can kind of attitude. You have to know your stuff, and you have to be willing to share your stuff and build around your stuff on a consistent basis. This is the hardest part of building a successful brand or business, is actually rolling up your sleeves and making it happen. Guys, I got more on today's must-read episode, but before that, let me give love to today's sponsor, Braintree. You remember the first dollar you made. Now you want to grow to make your billionth, but have you found the right payments partner to grow with you? Braintree lets you accept every way to pay, from PayPal to Apple Pay to even Bitcoin, and everything in between. All it takes is one integration, and it doesn't matter what currency your customers use. Braintree allows you to accept over 130 different currencies. To learn more how your company can grow with Braintree, visit BraintreePayments.com/MBA. Again, that's BraintreePayments.com/MBA. To sum up today's must-read Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk, it's definitely a motivational read, but it's also a practical one. He also tells you what you need to do, what mentality you have to have in order to make it on the online space, to have a big online brand, whether it's a personal brand or the brand of your product. If you're just getting started online, this is actually a very good book to start with. It puts things in perspective, and it also lays down the path and lets you know this is what you're about to embark on. This is what to expect. This is the hard work you're going to need to do. These are some of the things you need to really focus on and keep in mind. A lot of us, when we get started, we struggle with things like transparency, authenticity, helping, and giving value to our audience. And this book really highlights the importance of these things and shows you how he did it. Guys, we put an easy link to order Crush It in today's show notes. We found the best price possible, and we put it in the link. You could check that out in today's show notes over at 100mba.net/MBA639. Guys, that wraps up today's episode. I hope you loved it. Make sure you hit subscribe. We got a whole bunch of amazing episodes coming up this week. We have an episode on how to add personality to your product, how to make things fun and entertaining for your audience. We also answer the question, should you publish daily content? What are some of the challenges that you might face, and what are some of the benefits? We also talk about how to handle haters, as well as how to find the best developers out there if you're looking to build an app or some sort of website. Where do you get started? Where do you find them? Hit subscribe and you'll get them all automatically right on your device. All right, guys, before I go, I want to leave you with this. I try to read as many books as possible, and I have a different taste in books than maybe you. And I appreciate certain books that are really well written, some books that are really good on content. Some people are really good at, illustrating ideas. They're great teachers. But it's really hard to find a book that does all of these really well. But if a book does at least one of these well, then I have to recommend it because there's value in there. But one of the things I recommend is if you read a book from an author that you really resonated with, try to find what other books they've written, get on their mailing list and find out when they're publishing their next book, because there's a good chance that they're going to write and produce content that you're going to really connect with. All right, guys, that wraps up today's lesson. I hope you loved it. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.